Welcome to Brain Health Matters, a series of courses, programs, and shows just like this, all designed to help you become healthier so your brain can be stronger and happier. This week, I'm honored and delighted to have Dr. Akil Taher, who has done everything from triathlons to skydiving, hang gliding, and scuba diving. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? But that did not happen during his youth. He has done all of this after going through open heart surgery at the age of 61. Since heart disease is one of the major risk factors that can contribute to the likelihood of developing dementia, I just had to invite him here to share his story. And I know it will inspire you no matter what your health challenges. So be sure to stay tuned. I'll be right back.
You have 86 billion reasons to go vegan, and they're all resting right between your ears. That's right, 86 billion neurons that make up the master controller we call our brains. And while they're in control, our lifestyle choices determine how well they work, and that means we must nurture and protect them. The best way to do that? With a whole foods vegan diet that nurtures not just the physical, but also the emotional, mental, and spiritual brain. In the vegan brain, you'll learn how whole plant foods can nurture the healthiest version of yourself, and, perhaps more importantly, how your choices can reduce suffering for countless animals and help create a more compassionate, sustainable world. The Vegan Brain Second Edition also includes nutritious recipes and meal plans so that your journey towards a kinder, healthier future will be easy and delicious. Available in ebook format on Amazon.
Dr. Akil Taher is a physician turned heart patient turned mountaineer who uses his experiences to inspire and motivate his patients and all the rest of us to live better, eat well, work out, and practice moderation. He wants cardiac patients to know that life does not end after cardiac surgery. If anything, it's just a tune-up, so he says. It's time to outrun those 20-year-olds. Welcome, Dr. Taher. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kate, for that very generous and a kind introduction.
Oh, I've been excited to see this. I follow you on Facebook, and you were just featured in an article on ARP magazine.
Yes, I was at the American Association of Retired Persons, and it talks about how, as an older person, you can live with your adversities. And we are living a lot longer. And I think they have done a study in which they find they compare older people to younger people. And even though older people have more problems, for some reason, there's a study done in one of these Yale universities whereby older people are getting happier, even with that study.
I find that very interesting. I did read that in that article, and I was pondering it, and I'm thinking, well, we have a lot more. I just turned 66 yesterday, so we have a lot more to look back on and say, well, we came over this, so we can beat this. We managed to get through this, so we can do this too. I think it's the experience, yeah.
Absolutely, and happy birthday to you, my dear.
Thank you.
A little belated, but it is. You see, adversity sometimes, I believe, Kate, brings the best in all of us or brings the worst in all of us. See, it's very true, because when I got my stents, adversity brought the worst in me.
Really?
I got depressed, and I got severely, all my mental faculties and my physical health absolutely deteriorated. But when I got my heart surgery, that adversity became a friend to me.
You have to tell everybody everything about this. This is such an amazing story. So you had stents, so you obviously had heart issues or circulatory issues.
See, till the age of 61, I created my own unhealthy lifestyle. I ate everything at sight without worrying about what outcome it would have on my health, like heart disease. And like many in the listening community around here, I thought it would never happen to me. heart disease. And so I was a glutton. And I, at one point, people used to call me a seafood eater, SEE, because I ate everything in sight. And not only that, I mean, you name it, you Indian food, the American sad diet, aptly called the standard American diet. And you know something, kid, I needed these foods because I'd become addicted. So to get my daily high, I needed these foods. Then comes a time I was really working, long hours, paying little attention to my family, friends, and my health. And it took its toll. And then I did not know the meaning of exercise. I did absolutely no exercise. I was on the couch, possibly using the only muscles were my hand muscles, taking the remote and changing the TV channels. Or at times, my wife would force me to go to the park and I would watch the joggers pass by. That's the only eye muscles. So I had no exercise. On top of it, I'm right now, I'm not ashamed to say that, but I was a type A personality. And that you have to believe that you have to let go a lot of things in life. Everybody's not made like you. You have to give and take with people. And I needed everything under my control. It was my way or the highway. So all this, and besides, my genetics are not too good, kid. In fact, my genetics, I lost my brother at 52 with a stroke. My mother and my sister both died at 69 of heart disease. So my genetics are not too good. And apart from that, just 3 months back, I came to know that there is a part of lipoprotein, the cholesterols, and one of the lipoprotein, LP little a, which even my cardiologist did not know. So I had to tell him, why are we not checking this when my cholesterol is not coming down? And that was way, way high. It was supposed to be something like 30. Mine was 361. Again, genetics. There is no treatment for it right now. So that is what I've got. And besides, I've got this extra accessory pathway in my heart, which we doctors love to give big names to it. It can cause an arrhythmia, and we call it the Wolf Parkinson White syndrome. You know, I tell people it sounds like a horror movie, but it is true. And so with all this, think about it now. Having a bad diet, sleep was a problem, this. And so I was not surprised that heart disease came knocking.
Right. Yeah. You as a physician, you would know that you set yourself up for it.
Yeah, but as a physician, you also put every other symptom thinking that this is something else and not my heart. You see, it works both ways. So when I was in London with a friend and I timed it, every 4 minutes, I would get chest pain and angina. So I would time up, and then I came back to my town in States, in Gadsden, a small little town in Alabama, and I refused to believe this. So I went on the treadmill. In the first 2-3 minutes, I was feeling great. I said, "Look, that must be all." Again, 5 minutes, the pain was there. I literally fell, put the red button, fell on the treadmill, and I was teary-eyed at that time. And somebody came and tried to pick me up because I'd fallen, and so what happened? I said, no, just my allergies.
Allergies are going to make you pass out practically on the treadmill. Wow, you were in denial, huh?
I was totally in denial. But then came the time when I accepted, but two of my arteries were 98 to 99% blocked.
Wow.
The thing is that and they were so hard that they had to use a diamond tip drill to shave the plaques during putting the stents. And at that time was my first encounter with death. I got a cardiac arrest. So, and they had to shock me to revive me again. That is not the sad part, Kate. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in this country and all over globally. Do you know that this cardiologist who saved my life that day, brilliant, brilliant young cardiologist from Birmingham, he died 2 years after he put stents in me on his treadmill while he was exercising. He was only 42 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So can you imagine that I have come to this country and I'm finding that when I started practice, I hardly saw a patient with heart disease or diabetes before the age of 45, 50, 40. I'm seeing diabetics at the age of 18 and 20.
No, it's so sad. I'm pretty sure that's the sad diet that's having a lot to do with that, and sitting on the couch like you were doing.
Absolutely, the diet is the main thing. So what happened was that, everybody now must be thinking that Dr. Taher has now changed his lifestyle after the stents, and now he's climbing mountains and doing marathons. Nope, I did not change my lifestyle.
Even after the stents, that didn't
Even after
inspire
the
you to.
stents, I did not. I don't know why I said modern medicine can save me and I will be able to get things done. Possibly what you said, still under denial. And so what really happened was that, you see, I thought I was a doctor and I was supposed to treat patients, not become one. And therefore, I started to get into my shell. I withdrew from life. I would cry uncontrollably at times. And then nights were not even better. I mean, I would have horrible dreams and night sweats and with the energy going off with the effect of this. And so all this brought in more physical symptoms now. Pneumonia, bronchitis, your sinus infections visited me every year. And then I got, because no fiber in my diet. Fiber is one thing, if nothing else, one thing that you can take from this talk. People, increase your fiber. 38 grams is what they say. An average American is 15. I say 65 grams.
I agree with you 100%. Yes.
Because fiber can decrease your cholesterol, increases your good bacteria, decrease your constipation, and whereby you do not get things like diverticulitis. I got diverticulitis. I was with perforation. So I was admitted twice in the hospital. And the sad thing is the surgeon who was my friend, he's standing over me, the second perforation. And he says, look, Akil, if I do not do surgery on you, operate on you right now, you may not survive. That was my second encounter with death. I refused.
You refused the surgery?
I refused the surgery because I talked
What
to...
did you have? You had a death wish by this point? Is that what the point?
No, it was not a death wish. I tried to talk. You see, sometimes you have to do a lot of research. Even as a patient, talk to other doctors. Just don't go and game into one when you have time. I mean, it's not that this thing. So I talked to people, other doctors here in New York and Yale and Harvard. They asked me whether my vitals were normal, my temperature was okay, my blood count was okay. And therefore, I decided to take this chance. I don't have any diverticulitis now. I don't know. People think that diverticular in America, the doctors also think it is normal to have pockets in your colon. It is not normal to have pockets in your colon. This kind of life that I had, this horrendous life for 5 years, before I was back in the hospital, this time for an open heart surgery, as my stents had failed. Now I mark my words, I will do a half marathon in a year's time if all goes well. This is what I told the nurses in the ICU. Well, some of them thought it was an anesthesia infused that was talking, or some of them humored me, and so I don't know till today I don't know why I said that at that moment. I really don't know, but I believe that subconsciously I realized I had only two options left. One was to carry on this um, horrendous lifestyle that I was having, and then wait for the inevitable death, or make a conscious decision to really change my life, uh, having purpose and passion and positive attitude. So I chose the latter.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. And now you're sharing it with the world. You know, as you know, I'm a brain health coach.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that I tell my clients all the time is it's a decision you have to make, to choose which path you're going to take. If you have a family, like my mom passed away with dementia, I had a choice when she was diagnosed. Do I continue the lifestyle that our family had, or do I choose something that will help me not follow the path that my mom took? But you have a choice to make. We all can make those choices, unless we're so far advanced that we don't have conscious thought. Yes, in the case of dementia. But my feeling is always it's the choice. Now, once you make that choice, though, there are a whole bunch of things you have to do. You had to do a whole bunch of things after you made that choice. What was the first thing that you did that was really different from what you had done before?
Well, I took up. I told the nurses I would do half a marathon, so I had to keep up to that. So I took up running. Imagine, I mean, a guy who had not done even a 1 kilometer. It was like, learning how to walk and taking baby steps. Uh, for the first few weeks, it was difficult. But then I started finding some pleasure. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but it is okay to disagree. People love to have a companion to run or walk. I like to do it alone because to me, it is meditation in motion. So I like to smell the flowers and the birds chirp and all that. And to me, that becomes so. I became pretty good at running. Running means mine was a flat little thing in a small town, Gadsden. But my recovery was remarkable. I was on the treadmill on the third day. And I had not taken, I told my wife, I will not take any pain medication, period. So even though it's excruciating pain when they cut you open, I mean,
I can
God
only imagine. Oof.
forbid people not getting it, because each breath and each cough is like kills you. But the point I'm making is that that pain I was happier in that pain rather than the emotional trauma of the last 5 years.
I understand. Plus, also, when you're running, you're going to produce endorphins. Even, I mean, you're working out, you're walking now for the first time, it seems like, in your life. So you are now producing endorphins and all the other good things that come from physical exercise. So I'm sure that had to have helped your pain to some degree.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I started running, and in 7 years, I mean, 7 months, my wife and I went over to Nashville to run my first half marathon. There was a dichotomy of fear and excitement.
I can
Uh,
only imagine.
I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was up till about 2 a.m. in the morning. And then I went for a short nap, and suddenly, you will not believe it, Kate, I dreamt that I was representing my country, US, in the Olympics. And I was being given a gold medal, and I'm singing the national anthem totally out of tune. So I'm just, and that woke me. I think more than anything else, what woke me was my disaster at singing. So I woke up And then the next morning was hilarious. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, in Nashville, you know how they are. They offer you beer and wine and all that on the run. Of course, I didn't take those, but the people were great. And it took me 3.5 long hours to do that half marathon. But trust me, Kate, my bruised heart did not fail me. It not only physically, literally, but figuratively carried me across the finish line. And I was absolutely on top of Mount Everest, like,
I
I was
bet.
thrilled. But remember, again, the more important thing is this was 7 months after 1 year of my heart surgery. Somebody said, would you like to go to Tibet and climb Mount Kailash, which is 29,000, but you only can go up to 19,000, which is Mount Kilimanjaro is 19,000. I said, sure, why not? And so 1 year after my open heart surgery, they would not let me go because they said, no, you cannot, because you have to get a cardiac clearance. How can you be doing it after 1 year of your heart surgery? So I told my cardiologist in small town, why don't you come along with me so that we both can go? And then I said, here is my cardiologist. Now will I be given permission? And they said, okay, now. So I went. It was, tough, tough, tough as nails. But the moment I reached at 19,000 feet, it took us 4 or 5 days of circumventing that 19,000. And it's called a Dolma Pass. And the Dolma Pass, few people have died over there. But we were so elated that everybody was high-fiving and all that, but not me. I wanted to be alone. And I found a certain kind of peace over there, Kate, that I cannot put it in words, but it can only be felt. I realized at that point in time that would I be able to survive without material comforts? Because there was no material comfort over there. Would all these cars and all and everything else, big houses, is that the only thing in life? Or there's much more? So I sat there and I was so peaceful. When I came down, I carried on my life, and my wife notices something happened up there, Akil. I said, no. I mean, it had gone off my conscious mind, He says, you changed. And the type A personality mellowed. I started to listen more to my patients, to my friends, to my family.
To your wife.
My wife. My wife, I always listened even before.
Smart man. So now you've done this mountain climbing. You've run a half marathon, and since then you've done many other amazing feats. That initial decision to go this way rather than to take that run, that first run, that changed you in many, many ways. But many people never make that decision consciously or unconsciously, and they still struggle, partly in denial, partly maybe because they don't even realize what good health feels like because they've never had it. So I want to get into some practical ideas for our listeners, because I think it's really important for them to take away from your experience what they can do when they are faced with something. I went in our initial conversation letters, I told you about my husband who has serious lung disease, and he had a stent, which did absolutely nothing. We might as well save the money, but he had that done. And I know that he's suffering a little bit with a kind of a depression. It's hard for him to get motivated. So if you were to run into a patient or a client, someone like that, how would you get them to get off the pity wagon and get going? What would you say?
The first thing is, let me explain to you the 6 pillars. People should just take this advice of the 6 pillars.
Take notes, people. Write down now.
6 pillars is one is your number one, the most important. It centers around nutrition, food. And the complementary factors to this is your exercise, your sleep, your handling of stress, your having a good social support, and avoiding substance abuse. Now, here I want to draw the attention of the listeners. Think of this as you love music, so you will like this analogy, Kate. You're a musician, right, Kate?
Correct, a harpist.
So, harpist. So I read your other things. So what I would suggest is that think about these six pillars as a band, or whereby you have these people where your conductor is your nutrition with a baton, symphony. And then when you have all this exercise and sleep and all those other things as your, say, a trumpeter or trumpet player or a pianist or a cello player. Now, if you list, you need to have all these people in a sync to get a harmonious, melodious music, pleasant to the ear. Now, if there is a flaw in one of those players or two of those players, you are still going to get the music. It won't be that good. Similarly, the six pillars of lifestyle medicine are interconnected. So if you do one thing and don't do others, you will get the benefit, but not the benefit that you require. For your total health outcome, it is good to have. I mean, some people say, oh, look, I exercise and I eat well, but I don't sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I smoke once in a while. There you will get some benefit, but not the total benefit. The total benefit gets you to a level so high. So the first thing is a band, the leader and your conductor, and that conductor is your nutrition. A whole food plant-based diet. At my time, when I started a whole food plant-based diet, it was dull, it was pathetic, it was insipid, the food. But now look at it.
Amazing.
It's so amazing that I love to eat my whole food. But at my age, at 75, I'm a very simple eater. So I'm that way I'm not interested into gourmet foods at home. So I'm not, but I tell you, younger people should go for gourmet whole food, plant-based food. And the whole food plant-based diet is what you're taking in your fruits and vegetables should be half your plate. Your whole grains, like your quinoa, your amaranth, your brown rice, your all these should be low glycemic.
Yes.
Meaning that it raises the blood sugar slowly like it is supposed to be. So if you take that, and then your seeds, your nuts, and your protein, everybody asks you, oh, where will I get my protein from? Legumes and beans give me enough protein. I did 100-kilometer bike ride on meat diet, and I was in bed for 4 days. When I did my 100-mile bike ride, and trust me, this is the truth, 100-mile bike ride on a whole food plant-based diet, and I had to go and work the next day 10 hours because the doctor reported sick without batting an eye.
There you go. I so get that. It's just, we're not loading down our system with
Protein. Only thing that, look at the amount of sugar we take as Americans. 17 teaspoonfuls of sugar every single day is processed sugar. Look at the amount of salt we are taking, 3.5 grams of salt, when the American Heart Association says 2.5. I say not more than 1. Look at the calcium we are taking. Why? The dairy industry says take 1.5, take 1 gram. You don't need more than 500, 600 milligrams of calcium.
Right, right. We need more magnesium. And when people have too much calcium, the magnesium balance goes way off. It's crazy to have so much calcium. More important to have magnesium.
More important to have magnesium, more important to have your vitamin D and B12. Now, here I would like to say B12 should be for everybody.
Yeah.
Very small, 1.2. The reason being that even though you are if there are meat eaters in the audience, in the older people, they take in a lot of antacids and metformin for their diabetes. This does not allow the absorption of vitamin B12. And D is a must.
Yes, I agree, especially for brain health. You have got to have it for brain health. Omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D3, all of those are essential if you're going to have a healthy brain and a healthy heart.
Well, absolutely right. Look at the gut-brain axis.
Yep.
It's not the gut brain axis now. The brain gut axis is now become because of the microbiota, gut microbiota. See, it's a gut microbiota. Sometimes when you get a little stressed out, immediately your contraction in your belly goes off.
Yes.
That's a signal that has gone over there. And when your contraction, then you start feeling bloated and you diarrhea and this and that. Similarly, much of the serotonin is produced by the gut. And that, if it is not by the bad bacteria, you don't get the messages going in the brain. So you start feeling lethargic and depressed and anxious. So there's such a bi-directional thing. It's amazing.
Includes the heart in there too. Like it's so people think, oh, well, I'll eat a heart healthy diet. Well, a heart healthy diet is exactly the same as a brain healthy diet, which is exactly the same as a gut healthy diet. Just think about what makes your body run like a really fine-tuned engine. Yeah, you need, just like a car needs good quality oil and it needs to be tuned up. We need to do the same thing.
Very true. So very true. See, you must have heard about the broken heart syndrome.
Yes. Yeah. Please talk about that.
Broken heart syndrome happens mostly in women, but men now are having it too. Mostly after 50 years, an intense, either it is physical, like burns or dehydration, or it is due to a lot of stress. Bad news, death in the family, very close person. And then you get into a broken heart syndrome, whereby your muscles get attacked. And you are having symptoms, exactly signs and symptoms of a heart attack. But it is self-limiting. After the episode, in 2 or 3 months, everything turns back to normal. Oh, this is exactly what you were talking about. The heart is related to the brain. The brain had all these thoughts and problems and created a broken heart. So, folks, you must understand, like Kate said, everything is interconnected to our body. And if you don't look after that, that becomes a problem. So the food-wise, 60 to 65% of your diet should be carbs, healthy carbs. And then about 15 to 20% of protein and plant-based protein, and about not the 30 grams of fat that they talk about. 10 is enough.
Yes. Yes.
10 grams of fat is more than enough, and you can get it from your nuts and your seeds. If you
Yeah,
can.
and avocados, things like that. That's where we get all
Love
of
avocados. Love avocados. Yeah, yeah. I love to put sweet potato, avocado, and a green chutney with garlic and on a toast. Oof.
There you go.
I'll
And
leave this show and go and have my breakfast and then come.
So see, that's a really good point that you brought there earlier about the kinds of foods. It doesn't have to be fancy food. Now, I happen to really love. I'm training to be a vegan chef, so I love playing with the foods. Last night, I made a tofu parmesan, which was so incredible, using quinoa for the coating and that sort of thing. So I love doing that. And my husband really enjoys the different flavors, but it doesn't have to be complicated. A lot of people will say to me, oh, I don't have time to cook. I can't be bothered. It's too complicated. But you just said simple is just fine. Thank you.
You see, do we have time for 1 minute for me to tell a story about something?
Please.
3 or 4 years back, 4 years back, I had two couples who joined me on New Year's Eve, and they were going to sleep over at my place. So we were 6 of us. So I told them that and there were two of them were non-vegetarians. They were eating meat and eggs. So I said, I'm going to make you scrambled eggs in the morning. And they said, sure. So I took tofu and made scrambled tofu with the cilantro and with the tomatoes and with the green peppers and all that. And I made it and I gave it to them. Trust me, Kate, again, a true story. Finger licking. And I'm not even a good cook. So finger licking. And they were saying, wow, this is the best we have tasted. Then I turned around and said, look, guys, this is not eggs. This is tofu, a hot tofu. And one of them had the audacity to turn around and say, oh, yeah, that's why I thought it was not tasting that good.
Oh my goodness.
But the point I'm making is that you can do wonders. I mean, a bean soup that my wife makes, the 8 and 10 bean soup. And oh, wow, I love the simple foods,
Yeah.
I love the earthy taste of mushrooms. So I make a mushroom in a spinach burger, a jackfruit burger. So these are simple things that can be easily made at home. So the next thing that from food, we go on to the exercise. And exercise should be the regular movements that can help you. You don't have to be sedentary. Your endorphins, like you said, things can go. But purposeful exercise also is a must. Purposeful exercise meaning that you do 30 minutes of moderate intense activity, whereby your heart rate goes to 70% of your normal. 70% of your maximum. I'm sorry, 70% of your maximum. So your viewers will say, what is the maximum, So take for me, I'm 75. 220, you can write it down, folks. 220 minus my 875 makes you about 140 or so. Now, that is my maximum heart rate, 140 or 135. 70% of that is 103, 104. If I do not reach in my 30 minutes at least 10 to 12 minutes of this heart rate, then it is just doing activity, not being sedentary, and it is helping you. But if you are doing cardio, you should be able to get this.
Yes.
Intense exercise, even for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then look normal, then go in for 1 minute of intense. This is a must. This will reduce your blood pressure. This will reduce your pulse rate. In the long run, if your blood can pull out more oxygen, because now your heart rate has gone down, with the heart having to do less work.
Yes.
So this is an immense thing about exercise. Your insulin sensitivity goes sky high. So all those factors are important as for exercise is concerned. And for older people, the 4 exercises you have to, we're talking about cardio. That means go and swim, run, dance, and go to a supermarket, not parking your car way out. I mean, park your car way out, not near the supermarket. And when you come out, get your things in your bags, in your hands. Don't take the cart to the car. You have to get your biceps, the muscle strengthening exercises.
That was my next question about muscle strengthening, because a lot of people, they'll run or they'll do, now I work out in the pool, not just swim, but I actually do calisthenics in the pool. And I find that helps with the muscle development, because I don't have weights or anything. But that is also a very important part of heart health and brain health. It's really, the bigger, especially thigh muscles, bigger your thigh muscles, for some reason, the stronger your brain. I would assume it's the same with the heart. I don't know.
I believe so. I think you hit the nail on the head. This is so important, muscle strengthening, especially men. They believe that, they have to get puffed up and your muscles, these things are going to go down, not because of anything else, because of inactivity and because the hormone levels not being the same, the testosterone, So you don't require more protein. What you require is muscle strengthening exercises. More oxygen can go in and your muscles remain active. People fail to understand. Then, of course, stretching, because men tend to be more stiff than women as they get older. My wife can sit on the floor cross-legged. I cannot. So the point is that is very important. And balance exercises. A patient of mine taught me this. He was in his 80s. He says, Dr. Taher, if you can tie your shoelaces standing up, putting your foot up and tying your shoelaces without support, your balance will be okay. And I did it for a long time. I'm finding it difficult now, but I am trying my best. That's the best. Heel walking and toe walking, all these are balance exercises. And so all these things are so very important. We take it for granted.
Yeah, we do. And it's really easy when you get older and like things might start to hurt, or you have a little twinge of arthritis. It's really easy to let that set in and don't bother it, don't stretch it out there, because then it hurts. And that's not good.
Living with your adversity, you've got to move. I mean, I believe that as long as I am alive, whatever I can do, I will do. The day will come when I will not be able to do, and I will be doing exercises in bed. That is, you can do a whole lot of people who are in bed and they're bedridden or even in a wheelchair. You can do your calf muscle exercises, your neck exercises, your lifting weights in bed. You can do so many things.
Yeah, there are many things. Doctor, we're going to have to close. I try to keep it to half an hour. We've already gone way over that, but that's all right.
I'm so sorry, but
No. This has been amazing and wonderful and so inspiring. Please tell us a little bit about your book, because I want people to get this book.
Yeah, my book is Open Heart. Open Heart will get you many things. One is that transformation of a physician after what he had undergone, and will let you know that adventure may hurt you, but monotony will kill you. Now, adventure does not necessarily mean it's just a way of saying it is a metaphor for other things. I'm not asking people to climb mountains and run races, even though it'll help them if they read the book. But I'm asking them to try living outside your comfort zone, with the book says. That live outside your comfort zone. Take up cooking, take up gardening, take up playing mahjong or something, as my wife has done recently. Get out of that comfort zone, and life will become more interesting. And you can learn, finally, from my book, you can learn from my mistakes. And it is available on Amazon. And please do me one favor, whoever reads it, I don't mind whatever review you put, it's good, bad, or ugly, but please put a review, because all the royalties are going to charity.
Oh, thank you so much. I will be sure to put links in the show notes along with your Facebook page, because I love people to follow all the wonderful things you're doing all the time.
From my heart to yours. Thank you. Keep in touch.
I will. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Brain Health Matters. I'm Kate Kunkel, and I hope you've enjoyed this inspiring conversation about coming back from serious cardiac disease to running marathons and climbing mountains. There is a very important connection between our hearts and our brains, so looking after one can surely look after the other. And you can learn about many more ways to boost your brain in the other episodes of Brain Health Matters, which you'll find along with the latest brain health research and much more information on our website at brainhealthmatters.today. And your help getting the word out is very much appreciated. Subscribe, write a review, or share our podcast with those who can use some help with brain health. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, remember, it's never too early to look after your brain, but it can become too late. Now is the time to start.